Hey guys, this is going to be a relatively quick video. We're going to be doing a very brief tutorial on decision making through the relevant stages about how to maintain a win streak. Thank you to G2A for sponsoring the channel. There's a reference link in the description below. So throughout stage 1, pretty easy. What you're going to be doing is looking to collect as many pairs as possible. You can't always dictate what the game is going to give you quite clearly, so you're going to have to make the best of what you've got. If you can't find things like protectors, you're always going to want to follow the basic principle that you're going to need a front line of some sort and you're going to need a back line of some sort. The good front lines are protectors, obviously, 2 protectors being the sort of standout right now, especially Jarvan, 2 vanguards, and 2 brawlers. I would say that vanguards and protectors are better than brawlers in the early game overall, but any kind of front line will work. So make sure you're running off the premise that you need you need a front line and you need a back line. Backlines, they can come in all shapes and sizes. 2 kind of ones that I really like playing right now are 2 infiltrators, but 2 snipers if you're lucky enough to get an Ashe and a Caitlyn work really well. 2 sorcerers work nicely, like a TF and a Zoe, or a Zoe and an Ahri, which would work well with 2 vanguards because you can also get 3 Star Guardians. Lots of different ways to play, but again, from the end of stage 1, you're just looking to at least have some kind of front line and at least have some kind of back line as well. So when you get to round 2-1, you're going to have a decision to make. Do you level up this round, or do you wait and kind of assess your options? Now, given my board here, I decided to wait and assess my options. And what I would say is if you don't have a relevant unit to play on round 2-1, don't bother leveling up, unless it's just a 2-star and you know that you can build a win streak with it. What you should do in most scenarios, and this is the way I see it, a lot of people don't actually agree with me, is unless you are sure that the unit that you're adding at 2-1 is going to be impactful and is going to start your win streak off, you can actually just see what happens on round 2-1, and then from round 2-2, you can either decide to commit resources to win streak or or just preserve resources and go on a loss streak. So I decided to level up at round 2-2 because I found a Zed, and that's a relevant unit because it's going to give me the infiltrator bonus with Nocturne, and I've got 2 protectors, 2 infiltrators, and it's very strong. You should be scouting as much as you can every round. You're going to be wanting to position your infiltrators in a way that they are able to access the enemy backline, for instance, but also this is relevant for your front line and positioning of things like your Ahri and your Twisted Fate. Just make sure you're scouting and you don't get caught out by enemy infiltrators or enemy blitzcranks, just making sure that they aren't going to ruin your win streak for you. At round 2-3, you're going to have a decision to make. Either you are going to get to 10 gold, because that's like the benchmark threshold for economy. You're either going to pre-level, we call it the pulp pre-level, where you put in 4 gold to sort of turn up level 5 at round 2-5. In a very rare circumstances, usually on things like Treasure Trove, you may even decide to invest extra resources to go 5 at 2-3 and guarantee your win streak. In my circumstance, I decided to take a risk. I thought I was strong, so selling the Zed, going for a Celestial bonus instead, and trying to get 10 gold through a win bonus, and that's what I did. Now, you should be prepared to combine items in the early game as well if they make sense. I didn't in this game because, honestly, I had 2 bows and a rod. Now, I could make a Ginsu's quite clearly, but I thought, well, I only have 3 components, better for me to save. And I end up getting 3 bows, which is like a god-awful start. Trust me, 3 bows is such a terrible set of items to get that I decide to combine and make the Ginsu's because I have to at this point, and it's the most relevant and sensible decision. So let's now start talking about the end of stage 2, heading up to the Terror Busters. From stage 2-3 to Terror Busters is actually pretty simple, or at least you don't have to do anything kind of hugely decisive. Very few people decide to level up to 6 before stage 2-3. At this point, it's good to try and think about building your economy, slamming items if you need to maintain your win streaks, and looking to break economy thresholds where possible. For instance, in this particular round, you're going to see me break the 20 gold economy threshold just before I head to the Krugs, because it's going to allow me a little bit extra gold to work with heading into stage 3. You want to constantly be scouting, assessing strength of enemy boards, positioning accordingly, and making sure that this is the most important thing at this stage in the game, making sure that you check the people that you've played versus, and then heavily scout the positioning of the people that you haven't played versus, because you are only going to play people you haven't played versus toward the ends of stage 2. So in this particular instance, I knew that I was going to play up against the guy called Reworked Kale, or at least it was a pretty clear 50-50 or thereabouts between him and another player, and I decided to position specifically so that I would be able to beat him with relative ease. And that brings us all the way up to the end of stage 2. And again, a lot of it is just about scouting and looking to maintain positioning and just assessing enemy strength of board and also relative direction of comps, because by stage 3, you're going to be making a decision about where your comp wants to go. Okay, stage 3. We're going to talk about between stage 3.1 and 3.5. And the most important decision that you're going to have to make in stage 3 about maintaining a win streak is whether you level up on stage 3.1 or not. Basically, you make that decision based on, do you have a relevant unit to add, and how strong is the lobby compared to you? In my case here, I had a 2-star Caitlyn, and although it wasn't insanely relevant, I also had a Shen to add, and that gave me the Chrono bonus, which is a pretty strong early trait to work with. So I decided to add that and go to level 6 at stage 3.1. Otherwise, if you're on a win streak and you still maintain that win streak going into stage 3.2, you should always level at stage 3.2 up to level 6. It is the most gold efficient stage to level up, and it means that you're leveling up on curve, as it were. You should be considering, when you get to stage 3 potentially, a little bit of a mini roll down if you are worried about the strength of your board and you have more than a few pairs on your bench. Maybe it's between 2 or 3 pairs. It may be worth rolling a little bit rolling a little bit on level 6 to try and improve the strength of your board overall. But for me, in this particular instance, I felt that with the 2-star Nocturne, with the double Ginsus and the Caitlyn, I had a lot of really good synergies. I felt like I was able to very likely maintain a win streak without rolling down and maintaining economy. So those are just 2 decisions that you're going to have to make overall. So just be aware that when you get towards the start of stage 3, the most important decision is whether you level up on stage 3.1 or not. If not, you're always leveling up on stage 3.2. And then you should be considering a small roll down if you want to try and maintain the strength of your board. Because remember, if you are maintaining a win streak, especially at this stage in the game, you're getting +3 gold a round. It's like you naturally have 30 gold regardless. So let's move on to what to do from stage 3.5 onwards. Stage 3.5 will be a little bit like the start of stage 3 as well. On 3.5, you're going to make a decision about whether to level up to level 7 or not. And again, that decision comes through the same decision-making process that you've had in the previous rounds, and that is, do you have a relevant unit to add, and how strong is the lobby? Well, in my case, I decided to add a Wukong. It's a good individual unit, plus it gave me Chrono. Most win streaks will tend to end between stage 3.5 and infiltrators if you're not investing resources into keeping them. So you might want to consider a level 7 roll down to grab important 4 costs, or to improve the strength of your board overall by looking for 2 stars. For instance, on this roll down, I found a Jhin, I found a 2-star Nico, I found a 2-star Ashe, and in general was able to activate the 4 Dark Star part of my composition because of the roll down that I made at this level. And I still maintained 20 gold going into the infiltrator round. Check who you've played versus, and check who you're due to play from stage 3 or 5 onwards using the top toolbar, and heavily scout for the players that you are yet to play for positioning sake. So you're going to really need to make sure that you're aware of who to position versus and how to position versus them. I was just so happened to play versus the same guy I played on stage 2.6. It was the reworked KL Shredder player again. Combine items, if you have to. Don't sit on items unless you have a reason to keep them. You should usually be trying to go for something on the carousel that's going to give you a good item combination. Obviously, you may want to wait until the infiltrator round, and that's fine, but it is important that you do combine items where you have to. Okay, now we're into stage 4. Congratulations if you've made it to stage 4 with a 100% win streak, or thereabouts. You are in a very good position. So on stage 4.1, you need to make a decision about whether you want to level up or not. This is usually the case if you found a good unit to add that is relevant to you at level 8. And you also need to, again, as always, assess how strong the lobby is. You don't want to invest that many resources getting to level 8 when you are basically going to lose it anyway because everybody's very strong. I decided to go to level 8 at 4.2 because I found Jhin 2, and then I found a Fizz, and those are 2 really good units to add. So I went all the way down to 0, but I actually think I sort of increased the strength of my board by a pretty significant amount. So that's why the reason that I decided to go to level 8 at 4.2. Most people would otherwise go to level 8 at round 4.3. This is the standard time for someone to go to level 8, and usually people go to level 8 around 4.3 because they are looking for a particular 5 cost, and what most people will do is go to level 8 at 4.3 and then roll the remaining gold to look for that 5 cost that they want. So if you're looking for a particular 5 cost to complete your composition, consider doing the 4.3 level 8 and then using the remaining gold to search for that unit. Otherwise, if you're still win streaking at this point, you need to constantly assess your board strength and whether you want to roll to sort of complete and upgrade your board, or it may now be the time to conserve resources to secure your position in the game in top 4 by having the HP advantage. In particular, this game, I did not have the strongest board going into stage 4. I had a 2-star Jin quite clearly, but I didn't have the best items in the world for him. So at this point, it's better for me to conserve my resources, look to go 9, or look to build up to 50 gold and roll for a unit that I think I need. For instance, I would be looking for the Xerath here, and that would be the big upgrade for me in this particular game. And I thought, actually, Xerath is quite likely. If I can just hit one Xerath, it's probably going to upgrade my board overall. And you can see I kind of wasted resources doing it. But, just be constantly assessing the state of your board at stage 4. You don't want to be rolling all of your gold away if it's not actually going to sort of result in a tangible continuation of your win streak. And that's the most important thing in stage 4. But if you're in stage 4 and you're still win streaking, you've done a good job, and you should be proud of yourself and use that HP advantage to sort of get a top 4 in the game. There we go. Hope you enjoyed the guide, and I will see you soon.